Hello everybody and welcome to my third video on my Camino experiences. Today I'm going to talk about the training that I did. Um, so they're so different, so different. So the first one in 2016, I started training about 3 months before. I was lucky enough when I first just knew that I was going to do the Camino. I just reached out to people, and as the universe does, it provided me people, especially this one lady that I had a couple of meetings with, and she told me what she'd packed, her experiences, which was really, really helpful. That's another reason why I'm doing these videos. I mean, everyone has their own way, and when I do what I packed and the difference between the two different times, um, again, from my first experience, really dictated how I packed for the second one. So it's always handy if you are planning on doing the Camino is to talk to someone like me who's done it, uh, and and because most people are very passionate. I'm so passionate about the Caminos. It's such a great adventure and life's journey. Some people only ever do it once. Some do it multiple times. I'm blessed and lucky enough that I've done it twice, and will do it a third time. My intuition's already told me that, so I'll definitely be doing it a third time. So the training. So with the first one, I was living in Old Ranella, and I just started off with the pack. Money was pretty tight, so the pack I got was a very basic pack that I got on special, and I packed. They always say pack 10% of your weight, and at that stage I don't know, I think it was nearly 110 kilos. I was quite a bit heavier than I am now. But my pack was always about 114, 115 kilos, which a lot of people, when I was in Spain, said, "Oh, that's crazy, it's still heavy." But me being a Scorpio and who I am, and I packed for every occasion, I suppose. But yeah, so the training, so I started off on the walking bike paths around Old Ranella, and then I started walking up in the back of McLaren Vale, up Chapel Hill. A lovely lady had put me onto that she'd done training there as well. Um, and there's some quite steep hills. I actually did a post on Facebook. Well, I shared a memory a week or so ago, and this was quite a steep hill. And in fact, it got so steep in stages that I was literally lifting, moving my boots an inch and just sliding them up off the ground. I couldn't actually raise my knees up because it was that steep, which was good because that got the work into my legs, my knees, and really taught me about um, form. When people, athletes will talk about form, they're in good form, they're walking, they're running. So good form is when everything is flowing well, you're not putting undue pressure, your posture's good, etc., etc. So I learnt to lift with my knees. Lift with my thighs, not my knees. The idea is lifting with your thighs was to take pressure off your knees. And for any of you who've walked up steep hills, you can quite easily burn out your calf muscles or even your back of your hamstrings. So it was central practice and learning for me. And I downloaded videos. I went onto YouTube and searched for tips on walking up hills, etc. And like anything, like these videos, you take what you need out of it. I started off doing that, and then with my mate Samuel, who I had that connection with about walking the Camino, we started walking together and doing hikes, and eventually we started walking from Wollonga to McLaren Vale and back on the bike path there. So one way is 8K, so we were doing 16K trips, which was good. We'd stop, have a good chat. When we got to McLaren Vale, we'd go to this cafe and have a coffee, and then walk the 8 kilometres back to Wollonga. So that was very good training. So for the second year, I did maybe 2 walks. I was living at Angaston then at that stage, and there's a bike track that goes between Angaston through to Newryupta, if you know the Bross at all. So I did a couple of walks, not huge. Maybe the first one was maybe about 6Ks, and I think the second one was about 10Ks. But I just joined Anytime Fitness Gym at that, probably 6 or 8 months before. So I was in, happened to be in Aldi in Newryupta one day, and they had these weight vests, 20 kilo and 10 kilo weight vests. So I brought this 10 kilo weight vest. So what I started doing then was just going to the gym, getting on the treadmills. So I started off putting my 10 kilo weight vest, which was to imitate the weight of wearing a pack, even though, as I said earlier, that my packs were usually a little bit heavier than that. So yeah, I just started training with my weight vest. And the best thing that I liked about treadmills was because everything was enclosed. I didn't have to worry about weather or etc. I could change the incline of the treadmills at will. So I just built myself up. Started off doing half an hour and then an hour, and then I got to the stage where I'd do an hour, and that was different paces. What my body was comfortable with. I remember one day, I think I was working on about a 10% incline and maybe about 5k when it was, and I just felt my hamstrings tightening up in the back of my knees. So I just took off the incline, reduced the speed, walked for another 5-10 minutes, and when I was comfortable again, then I increased the incline, but I kept the speed down. And I got to the stage where I was doing 2-hour sessions, so I'd do an hour of that intermittent, changing the incline up and down and the speeds, and then I would just do the second hour at maximum incline, which was 15% incline. And I can't remember. I think it was about maybe 3 kilometres an hour. It wasn't overly quick. It wasn't. No, might have been 2.5 kilometres an hour. But I just spent that second hour working full on the incline. Again, working on my form, lifting with my knees. And so two very vastly different types of training. And as I was 3 years older, I actually think the gym suited me better than what I was doing out on doing the hills and stuff. So I still got the work into my legs and my thighs, especially the thighs. Again, thighs are so important when you're walking uphill and downhill. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And I guess that's 6.5 minutes already. So as you can see, I could just talk for hours and hours and hours about the experience of the Camino. So this one was on my training methods. So I look forward to recording the next one and posting that as well. Much love and light.